What's going on, everyone? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Gonna react to this video that idubbbz just dropped less than an hour ago from me recording this video. Wasn't expecting this. I thought maybe he said what he needed to be said or whatever, but it seems like he wants to have a more cathartic video just really explaining, because this thing's called I Miss the Old idubbbz. So it's just responding to a lot of people who obviously miss the old idubbbz. Now look, I understand where a lot of people are coming from, where I actually posted on Twitter about this situation maybe a week or two ago, and I was comparing it somewhat to the Cumtown podcast, where it disbanded. It's no longer a thing. Stavros, he went on to do more comedy-related things and started his own podcast, and then the remaining members, Nick and Adam, they started the Adam Friedland Show. And it is not like it's just remnants of Cumtown, but more mature, right? And Stavros essentially, he said it, but then not entirely, that I just don't want to really do this anymore. I guess maybe it was too immature and you wanted to just move in a different direction. And look, as much as that bummed me out, where I'm like, damn, Cumtown's my favorite podcast, my immaturity level is like at a 13-year-old. I never grew out of that. So I find a lot of immature and lowbrow humor just really funny. And so I'm like, oh, that sucks. But hey, life goes on, right? But that's pretty much where it ends with the comparison. Because there's people that are like, I miss the old edgy idubbbz. But there's people that are freaking out about it. They're getting super angry and hostile. And it's like, yo, this is weird. Like, you can miss the old content you used to make. Content comps were very entertaining. But why are you getting so damn angry? Like, what is wrong with you? Because that's the real question. What is wrong with those people that are having that type of reaction? It's not normal. So I feel like in this video, I have not seen it yet, he's probably going to talk about those type of people that are being so wild. And, you know I've heard idubbbz say things like he regrets a lot of this stuff and everything. And I also want to be clear that while I don't agree with that, I don't think there was anything wrong with his old content, in my opinion. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. It's about how he feels. Because essentially, the way you can wrap it up, it seems like he's had a come to Jesus moment, right? Or like, but secular. And, if he was a religious person, a lot of these people would be fine with that come to Jesus moment, right? Oh, I feel like I've been doing a lot of bad in my life, but now I've turned to Jesus. Praise the Lord, I'm a better person. And usually people, even non-religious people, are happy for somebody because they're putting their life in a positive direction. But for this, they won't give him that pass. They won't give him that grace. So let's check this out, man. This has been too long of a rant already. This video is long. I don't know if I can go through the entire thing because it's almost 18 minutes long. But let's just check. Let's see what he has to say.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that is a very weak and passive way to, run my channel and live my life.
That is very weak. Honestly, I feel like when it comes to the commentary community, and that's particularly obviously what he was worried about, they're terminally online people, and they don't just see this or idubbbz as entertainment. They see it as like almost like a creed or something. It's bizarre because you shouldn't be worried about a reflection on who you are. You are not idubbbz. I am not some black guy, even though I speak what I think. It is Derek's thoughts. I think this is the first time I've ever referred to myself in third person. I'm just saying they are my thoughts, but I have an online space where I can just do some dumb stuff, leave, and then do what I do in real life, right? And so I've always just been worried about changing my content because of algorithmic purposes and stuff like that, but not like, what are people going to think? I do not care about that at all. The people who genuinely care about me are going to understand and they're going to rock with me. Everybody else that doesn't understand or they don't like me or whatever, they can go fuck themselves. It's pretty simple.
So I think it's, if I'm going to have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about
Which slurs? I'm just kidding. But yeah. I mean, like I said, like, I understand that he may feel bad about that, but man, that's some golden era shit, bro. Let's just be real.
About how it's okay to say slurs. I think I should have the balls to make.
Well, I specifically remember you saying it's either all okay or none of it is. It's not you were saying it's okay to. It's not like you were specifically targeting slurs, but you used as an example because that's what people kind of find like that's the spookiest thing, right? Especially the N-word. So, but it's like either it's all okay or none of it is. And I can totally understand if you don't have that same sentiment. Like, I don't have, when I was way younger, a decade or more ago, I had a more para-libertarian mindset, right? I wouldn't say full-blown, but some of the things that I thought, some of the ideas that I had, and I thought like, oh, everything's corrupt, it's all like this and this and that, and then I didn't buy into the lesser of two evils or nothing. I don't think that anymore. I have a much more focused and refined thought from diving more into politics and actually really paying attention to statistics, facts. I was just like, okay, that was a little silly. So it's all right to change your mind when you have a nuanced perspective on things. And for some people, they just, they're the same dickhead always, and they can't understand why people would want to change or grow.
Make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is. I've realized
an apology video. See, that's, like I said, like, I don't think look, if he feels this way, that's what it's all about. Fair enough. But yeah, I just said, like, I don't think he really needs to apologize. But why not? If you feel bad that you feel like you may have hurt a lot of people, or you may have whatever. But my scale is so different. I just feel like this online stuff is not so serious. I mean, there's so many creators. idubbbz one of them, where you see the online hatred, where it's like, oh, what did this guy do? You take this to a normie, someone who does not watch YouTube or any of this dumb shit, and they're like, oh, what did this guy do? Why do people hate him so much? Oh man. He changed, and he doesn't like who he used to be, and he doesn't like his old audience. And then the normie's like, what? What? Oh wait, no, but he also has this wife that I don't like either. I feel like she's the one that changed him. And then the normie's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? I thought maybe he kidnapped somebody. He's been assaulting people. What you would think normally, what the general public detests in people, but it's just like, oh no, he did this. Like, I made a video about Boogie2988 where I'm like, what did he do exactly to deserve? Because I saw a video from, I think it was that Sunny V2 guy, where it said like he deserves his failure or something, and I'm like, what did he do exactly to deserve failure? Like people painting him like this guy's the scum of the earth or some shit, where I'm like, what, he's fat and he makes poor financial decisions, he fired a gun like an idiot, like people in fucking countries don't do that shit all the time, where it's just one of those things where, like I said, terminally online, it does not reflect, the hatred does not reflect these people. There's real villains out in this world, and then y'all are wasting your energy on Ian, who's just like, I'm just different. That was years ago. I don't want to do that shit anymore. And I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, hey, I would still love to see a content cop every once in a while. There's still some villains out there on YouTube, villainous YouTubers. There's the Sneakos and the Aiden Rosses and the Manosphere shit. Content cops and that stuff would be fucking awesome. But we're not going to get that anymore. That's fine. It's okay. We can just go back, look at the old shit and be like, oh man, those are some good times.
I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And
see, like, hurtful and like, I feel this, I'm gonna be real, like, when I hear this, it almost feels like he's kind of like a terminally online person, where it's like hurtful and damaging, where it's like, okay, what exactly do you have an example? Maybe he has an example. Maybe he's going to talk about this video. We're only a minute of the way through. Let me just keep going.
And I've also created a culture of
culture, apathy.
And, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well.
I don't know about if he created the culture of apathy, but maybe just harbored. There's apathetic people, and they found a nice place to kind of hang out. I wouldn't say you created that aspect, because these people have always existed.
Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel. So I don't want people to, you know, get it confused.
Like, it just, the words just don't really reflect the actions, in my opinion. Kind of like what I was saying about Boogie and all that. I'm like, what did they do exactly? And kind of the same thing for idubbbz. It's like, what did you do exactly that is cruel? When I think of the word cruel, I think about, like, you know, I heard somebody say, dude, there's been on my For You page on Twitter animal cruelty, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like that, I can't. That's unbearable. I can't believe people are seeing shit. Like, I hate seeing shit like that. Like, real cruelty, man. Like, people really get just twisted shit. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I do think you created edgy videos. I think you created edgy videos, and they were just fucking... They were funny. They were silly. Sometimes over the top. But, I mean, damn. I don't know, man. Like, what... Is there, like, say, was there a police report filed, you made a video, and then somebody was inspired to do some really heinous shit? Because in a case like that, I can understand why you'd be so affected, right? I totally would understand that. And like I said, this video is so much longer. Maybe there's way more, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, because goddamn, I'm 12 minutes into this, and we're only a minute and a half into this.
About where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
The wording is interesting. Like, he needs to acknowledge. It sounds more like somebody, you know, like when you go to a therapy sessions, they give you instructions, like, you need to do this. That's what it sounds more like to me. But like I said, I could be totally fucking wrong. You could just be like, this is how I feel, and I need to do this. And I'm like, all right, fair enough, man.
The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos.
Content cops.
And videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons. And, you know, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end.
But, like... But that's not that bad, though. See, that's not that bad. That's the thing.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and...
That's interesting. That is an interesting thing that he just brought up, because it makes me think that maybe, just maybe, he did believe everything he was saying at the time, and it wasn't just entertainment to him. It was like, it was a way of life. Like, this is the way things need to be, and he felt like you said, moral grandstanding. He felt morally superior to these people, instead of just talking shit. Like, say, when I was making videos, when I made a lot of responses and reactions, it wasn't a superiority, inferiority type of thing. It was just, hey, you said some dumb shit, I want to make fun of you. And then every once in a while, I said some dumb shit, because, like, yeah, I recognize that I'm human. And people have made responses to me, and it was kind of like a fair enough. Like, if I legitimately messed up, and I'm like, oh, well, you fucking got me. Like, sorry about that, guys.
And, you know, I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people.
Indoctrinated.
This is an okay way to behave. And it's not. It's super irresponsible, and...
Just another strong word, indoctrinated. I would use influence. Like, indoctrination is intentional. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty damn sure indoctrination is intentional. It's like when you talk about like homicide versus manslaughter. There's an intent thing that makes all the world of difference. And I feel like you may have influenced people by proxy. You made some videos and other people thought like, yeah, like it's cool. Like I'm a be just like idubbbz. I love idubbbz or whatever. But it's not like you're the puppet master, right? It's like a marionette show thing. And you're like, yeah, that's right. I want everybody to be like this. Like that's the way that it's sounding from his lips. And it's like, man, dude, I just don't think it's that serious, bro.
Shitty.
Like, I'm sorry to like downplay his feelings, but I mean, it's just, you know, like, it's not like I need him to feel the way I feel, which I feel like how online has been doing a lot of work. It's one of those things where it's like, well, you talk about how you're feeling, I'll talk about how I'm feeling, and then, you know, we just do our things. It's all cordial and everything's amicable.
I'm very insecure about my ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. And it's one of the reasons why I, you know, kept making this hurtful content. You know, I ended up pivoting it into other things because I felt bad about it, like innately.
Interesting. I mean, like I said, fair enough. It seems like it hurt him way more than any of us could ever imagine. Like almost, you know.
But it's still something that I struggle with, and I don't want you to interpret that as an excuse, but I hope that that is relatable to other creators who maybe struggle with the same thing. I'm not confident in my ability to entertain. And I think if I had to rely on my personality to entertain people, that I wouldn't have any amount of success. And
that sounds so wild to me. Like, because then it's like at the same time, because I was just saying, oh, it's like he believed in all of the stuff that idubbbz did. But then this statement right here kind of just says, well, idubbbz is 100% a persona. And he doesn't believe in Ian as an entertainer. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating thing. But like I said, obviously this is very cathartic for him. I'm sure this is the most he's ever opened up ever.
That is really hard to come to terms with. I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, you know, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions, you know?
Well, bigoted in which way? Towards whom, I guess? Maybe if I went back and watched a lot of his videos, maybe I can catch something. But right off the top of my head, I was like, who is he bigoted towards? Maybe he's gonna give an example.
But that's so silly, you know. Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry.
Man, I don't agree with that. I think context is so damn important, man. I think you can be like Jamie Foxx went on the Joe Rogan's podcast, right? And you can get like the stamp of approval from like somebody like Jamie Foxx, a brilliant, just multi-threaded, good at everything he does, and he's good looking. It's like, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. People like this shouldn't exist. To be great at singing, good looking, great actor, funny as hell, just amazing impression. Like, come on, what the fuck, man? They just anyway. you do blackface in Tropic Thunder. You're Robert Downey Jr., right? And then you can have a lot of people that understand comedy and understand like how offensive that could be and is to some people. But be like, in that context, it made so much sense in Tropic Thunder, right? Even though it technically still is racist to do, but that's the point of the role. For his character to be completely obnoxious. And I feel like this is obviously a way smaller scale. It's YouTube, but if you were doing like the Tana Mojo incident, I did not see it as like, oh, this is unforgivable or whatever. I'm like, I see what you were doing, especially because of she was dropping hard R's herself. And so you were just absolutely poking the biggest bear and just invoking a lot of emotions and shock value. And your purpose was not to be a racist person. I think most people understood that, and I feel like they still understand that. And I personally don't think that has changed. I don't think that situation has changed. Unless you're telling me that your feeling on what you did was completely different. Your intentions were different. Your intentions were like Matt Walsh, where he was kind of crying the other day about, oh, we should be able to say the N-word. like that was like actually your intention. You just want to drop hard R's with no repercussions. Then I'd be like, that's a little weird, but hey, whatever. It is what it is.
And, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like, if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting people.
That's, okay, man. I don't, see, I just, wow. I gotta say, man, I completely disagree with that. I just 100% agree with that. You can't please everybody. Dark comedy and just edgy comedy exist for a reason. Some people are going to be offended. It's just going to happen. And you say it doesn't matter the intentions or context or anything like that. It does. It matters. It's so important. It literally could be the entire difference between somebody who is a seethingly racist person and someone who is, I don't know, doing a play. They're a thespian, and they're Adam Driver in Black Klansman, right? Like, I don't think Adam Driver, I mean, I don't know what he does behind the scenes, but I don't think he's actually a racist person because he drops the hardest R in a movie. And I'm just saying, like, I feel like this is extremely over the top with almost like being conditioned to feel this way, where I think it's one thing to apologize for legitimately hurting people, or like, damn, I didn't know this happened. But I just feel like there's some people that are going out of their way to let you know that they're hurt. And it's like, well, what can you do about it other than be like, hey, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, really, what can you do other than I'm sorry you feel that way? Because, like, my intentions aren't to hurt you. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I am not trying to hurt you. And so instead of being like, well, fuck, I can't do this anymore because somebody's going to get hurt, I mean, you just got to kind of just fucking, you just got to kind of just do you, And I don't mean, because I never saw idubbbz as a piece of shit or something, Like, I never saw him like, oh, this guy's trash. I can't believe, but it's interesting, man.
And, who the fuck knows what my intentions are? Like, sarcasm and, like, jokiness and jokey tone only goes so far, especially over the internet. Even in real life, that's, like, an impossible thing to know with 100% certainty.
I mean, that's true, but I feel like a lot of people should do the due diligence on searching for the context. If they see something that seems racist, I mean, you don't always have to take something like that at face value. You can be like, wait, what the hell is this? It's almost like literally, like, back to Adam Driver. If you saw that clip of him completely out of context, you'd be like, what the hell is this? And then you're like, oh, it's for a movie. He's playing a racist in a movie. Like, oh, okay. Because, I love that clip so much, man. You guys know what clip I'm talking about.
I've just always had this dumb philosophy that I'm not responsible for, my audience and how they behave beyond what content I put out. And
well, that's something that I will say, when getting older, you do kind of have, because even I had a different perspective on that too, because in my opinion, when I looked at the demographic age of my audience, I'm like, all right, the vast majority of these people are grown ass people. They should know better, and they should be able to pay attention to what I'm doing, what I believe in, what I'm about, and all this kind of shit. You know, you had a lot of people who just started to come in waves, like say a lot of conservatives and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, they should understand me. I'm some stupid, just comedian guy, some jerk off with a radical centrist shirt, tattoos and big ass holes in my ears and shit, all into fucking punk and all this shit. They should probably have a decent idea of who I am. Apparently not. And it's one of those things where I could have taken the time to be more forthcoming about it. I could have taken the time to weed out people who I know I didn't want on my channel. Like, there were some people saying some kind of weird shit that I'm just like, what the hell? But it wasn't the majority or anything, but it was just like, And I just made the conscious decision to be like, yeah, whatever, these people are dumb. Instead of maybe trying to tell them to piss off or something. And it's something in retrospect, I'm like, I wish I would have done a better job of that. I would have retained an audience that I liked more, instead of just organically just, letting happen whatever happened. And I feel like that's kind of where we're in the same thing. We're like, whatever, I'm enjoying all of this organic growth, and I don't need to this X, Y, and Z. And maybe just in retrospect, you're like, well, now you see people like idubbbz probably walking in public, and then you have these probably these 14-year-olds going, say nit, and he's like, oh, fuck me.
That's stupid, and it's led to a lot of hate and a lot of bad outcomes. And I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely responsible for my audience. And I guess if you want to look out for people who are red flags, it's definitely people who had my mentality that say, I'm not responsible for what my audience does. I know that this
red flags
apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. These videos have been up for a long time and have
done a lot of damage,
accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should...
What's the damage? I guess he does legitimately believe that he created a huge culture of people. Now, look, from his perspective, he probably, I don't know anything. The amount of messages and stuff that he's gotten, I mean, maybe he's gotten a lot of stuff of people saying, if it wasn't for you, X, Y, Z. I don't know. Maybe this is why people are so angry when you see the waves of online people that are just so angry. They're so like, and it's like, oh, maybe this is what he's talking about when he talks about the indoctrination. Like, these people were influenced, and now their hearts are absolutely shattered. They're like, my hero has completely changed, and I don't know how to behave anymore. Like, what do I do with that? And it's like, guys, what the hell is going on with you, man?
Live the rest of my life with, and I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years.
Bigoted content.
And I've made a successful career out of it, and that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable. I am running ads on this video, and
I mean, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's kind of like a come to Jesus thing, right? It's one of those things where I so want to just be happy for the dude, where it's like, on the Snark Tank podcast, me, Chris, and Sweeney were discussing this, and I took the position of like, yeah, man, like, our opinions don't matter, whatever, how he feels. But I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't think he felt this damaged about like his old content. I didn't know that he was this distraught. I didn't know, like, when he says this is just a start in the right direction, the repairing the damage, like this is, I didn't know it was this bad. Or when people like Chris and Sweeney and myself were saying, yeah, I don't think his old content was that bad. I don't think he needs to apologize, but if he feels that way, it is what it is. Like, this is so much more than I ever could have imagined, like, him feeling bad about it. It's pretty wild, man. It makes me feel a little bit bad, like, in a way that, like, oh, this dude's legitimately hurting, and I do not think he should feel this way. I really don't think he should feel this way. I don't think there should be it. If there is people trying to make him feel this way, I don't think they're good people, to be honest. Because I don't think trying to guilt people and trying to make people feel like absolute shit is ever a moral position to take. It's not a high ground position. If you can acknowledge, like, hey, man, I think this shit's not really good or whatever, this content's not so great, maybe you can be like, maybe you're right, dude. That's kind of, all right, fuck it. Like, let's shut it down. Let's get rid of it and let's just move on. Maybe just one quick apology, guys. Like, I just don't fuck with this anymore. This isn't me. Like, you know, thank you for everybody who believed in me before and stuff, but I'm in a different chapter of my life. And then I feel like that's a wrap. That's cool. I don't, like, I'm gonna be honest, man, the way this has the vibe of someone who has done a felony, like, that has committed felonies, that has done something. There are people that have apologized to victims and victims of the family that have done the worst things on earth that have had less emotion, right? Like, they're coming out and you're like, you know, that's some cookie cutter bullshit. Like, I can tell this is from the heart. I can tell, but it's like, damn, man, it was just fucking YouTube, man. Like, it's not that serious.
Any revenue generated from this video, I'm going to match and donate to an organization that, you know, would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel.
What is it?
And again, this isn't the end.
Oh, I wanted that context.
Of what I'm doing. This is just the start. I don't feel like a lot of this content represents me as a person, at least not anymore. There was a time where it probably perfectly represented me, because I was a nasty, apathetic, insecure person. Now that I don't feel like it represents me, and I want to distance myself from it and keep it from, you know, indoctrinating more people, I'd like to unlist the videos so that people, you know, can access them still for whatever, you know, purposes they might want to do that for. But it's not being proliferated on the website. I feel like that's the best solution, at least for the time being. And for anyone who liked those videos,
yeah, that's an interesting one to me, because I don't mind unlisting. I've unlisted a lot of stuff too, because I'm just like, oh, either I'm like, I don't really care about these videos anymore or whatever it is. But there's certain videos that I just actually cringed at that I just deleted. You know, I'm like, I just don't want them, because you can still look at them. So people, if they're curious enough, they're still gonna find them on your channel itself. So it still kind of is, you're still kind of repping them in a way. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know the perfect solution for that, because some people believe in, like, oh, for archival purposes, this should still exist or whatever, this and this and that. Obviously, all the content cops they're all over the place. So I honestly feel like he could just delete them. You know, like, they're all there. They're all still fucking there. They're everywhere. They're on fucking every corner of the internet. Since they were made, people have re-uploaded and this and that, so you can still access them, but, you know, however the hell he wants to handle it.
Videos, I want this video to be an example and a lesson for you. You know, you can like content, but you can also think that it's irresponsible and it's hurting other people. So just tap into that part of your brain that's saying, like, oh, okay, it's probably not that important that this video stays online, because truthfully, I've seen it, I've experienced the content, but it's done a lot of damage. We can just let it go. I'm sorry to everyone that I make content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way. I particularly want to apologize to Tana.
Interesting. Very, very fucking interesting. How do I feel about that? I don't... I'm gonna, like, it's one of the things that it is insane. Like, I was such a smaller scale, right? It was rare. Every once in a while, I would see one of my viewers, one of my followers, going out of their way to talk shit about somebody I made a response video to, and I would DM them if I could, or I would tag them, whatever, and I would say immediately, like, hey, just don't. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm making a response video to their content, which is totally fine. And let's just leave it at that. You don't need to go out of your way to try to do, like, that shit's so stupid. Don't do that. You know, and usually, like, every single time I've done that, it was only a handful of times, they apologize, and it's like, cool, yeah, just don't. Like, it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. I mean, like, just leave a comment in my section, whatever, comment on one of my posts or whatever. We can all talk shit and have fun, but it's not supposed to go past that, right? And so on his scale, I imagine there was a lot of fucking just mutants just going to the, Keemstar, Leafy, Tana, whomever, just saying a bunch of dumb shit. But at the same time, I don't think it's that bad either. I really don't, because a lot of these people, they're existing on these spaces making dumbass content. They're saying really dumb shit, and it's like, hey, sometimes you gotta check a motherfucker, man. And you're checking them with a fucking response video. It's not really that big of a deal. I just don't, like, like I said, I just don't believe it. I said he can feel the way he wants, but I just don't feel like it is.
Tana, I'm sorry. I should have never made that video. I harassed Tana in person and then harassed her online, and that's deplorable behavior. It's
I mean, look at the let's be real. Maybe the in-person thing was a little much, but because like I wouldn't do that shit. I cringe at most like street people that, especially the in real life streamers nowadays, like just go up to people and like, I hate that shit. Idubbbz doing that, like, even I felt weird every time I saw that. Like, every time that moment, it's just like, such a weird moment. Like, it's so, having the balls to fucking do that, man, that's crazy.
It's so stupid. I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups who had to put up with that video and put up with, the phrases. I said either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And that's just so dangerous and stupid. I have made...
see, like... Look, man, I don't know if he made any excuses. I would have to go back and watch that video. I don't know if he's made any... within the video, when he's saying it's all okay or none of it is, in context, I don't think he's talking about derogatory. I don't think he's talking about calling people the N-word and attacking them, right? Just like, it's with it being in a derogatory way. I imagine that's not what he was saying. It was just... in general, how these idiots are just saying this shit. Now, it's funny because Tana used it in some derogatory ways in some of those video clips that you saw. At least one specifically where she was just spitting venom, And it was like, oh, like, yeah, that shit's fucking whack, dude. You obviously shouldn't do that. But and within certain contexts, I guess it's not the biggest fucking deal. You are saying it literally to be edgy, right? If you're calling someone the N-word, F-word, F-slur or whatever... if you're trying to say something like that, you're just trying to be edgy and get a reaction out of somebody. I imagine, I'm talking in the context of an idubbbz. You don't actually feel any type of hatred towards gay people or black people or whatever, so you're doing it for a specific reason. Now, you can still say that it's not cool, but I am somebody, I will be the arbiter. You were just speaking with two black people, so... And I've done this multiple times where people like mention what is a black person's take on this, and we always have to preface this with that, like, black people are not a monolith, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But it's just one of those things where, like, when it comes to my perspective, I don't really have feelings on certain ways that it's used, and have feelings when I watched the content cop with Tana Mojo. I thought it was funny and just whatever. The phrase all okay or none of it's okay, within a certain context, I think it totally makes sense. But I don't think you would literally be okay. And I never thought for a second that you would be totally okay with just walking up to a black person as a white person in public and just start dropping N-bombs on them. I imagine you never thought that was cool or that was fine. If that is how we felt back in the day, then holy shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like kind of like when I was bringing up Robert Downey Jr. and Jamie Foxx, you know, like just as like somebody who's really respectable and someone who can give a really nuanced take on that, where he's like, that was brilliant. That was a brilliant performance. You fucking nailed it. And I feel like within that context, the video, it was nailed. I really do. It was uncomfortable. It was fucking edgy. It was uncalled for, but that's kind of what was called for, if you know what I mean. A little bit of a doozy right there. But I don't think this apology and to apologize on behalf of, you know, for two black people and two black people that were watching this, I don't think that's necessary. Whenever that happens, I usually a lot of times I feel more offended that people would just automatically assume that I can't handle that shit, that I'm not a grown ass fucking person and I just can't handle it. You know, there's a lot of people that are offended and stuff like that, but I just feel like, well, man, if you hear something that is offensive like that, it's time to click off. It's not for fucking you. It's not for you, right? You can't make everybody feel safe. You can't cater to everybody's desires, wishes, and trigger warnings. You just can't do it. Sometimes you're going to make some content. Some people are going to get mad or offended or whatever. And if you are not intentionally harming those people, I think it's totally fine. Like, you're doing something for a specific reason. Everybody watching it understood. There was a lot of people that were probably offended and thought this was gross and disgusting. But I'm like, what can you do, man? I guess you can apologize, right? But I don't know. I feel like those people maybe they wanted an apology. Well, fair enough, I guess.
Made content that I'm proud of over the years. It hasn't been as consistent as maybe I'd like it to have been, but you know, there is a lot of content that I think had a net positive on the world, and you know, I'm going to strive to continue on that trend. But again, I'm absolutely going to continue to make mistakes, but I want the mistakes to be a lot smaller and a lot less serious. I also want to give some clarity to the post-fight speech that I gave. I mean, it wasn't a speech. It was a phrase. I was like,
you know, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support, and, you know, thank you for coming.
That was addressing the
Thank you for coming.
Over the years that I neglected and I left behind. You know, the people whose feelings I, you know, didn't take into consideration. Those are the people who I was addressing as, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Anyone who thinks that I should be shouting the N-word from the rooftops, I don't want to be your cup of tea. Now I want to...
I just wonder, because, like, I don't know, I guess, okay, I feel like it's fair to ask the question, is there anybody right now watching this video, because I can't get any other samples, but like, or do you guys think there's anybody watching idubbbz's response and they're like, I wish this guy was just dropping hard R's? Like, because I'm gonna be honest, when I think about Content Cop and all this stuff, that wasn't my favorite. The Tana Mojo one was my favorite one. I gotta say the Leafy one was probably my favorite. The Keemstar one was charming. like that. I don't think about that one as much, to be honest. And a lot of times whenever like racist content was brought to my attention, I was pretty dismissive of it because it was usually somebody not being seethingly racist and not purposefully trying to hurt people. If people, like, let's think about somebody like like a Matt Walsh or something that I name dropped recently, a Crowder doing George Floyd experiments, like, oh, I'm gonna get my knee. Oh, see, it's not so bad. My knee getting like. There's some shit that some people do, like, that is actually detestable. There's the stuff that do, like, that think, transgender ideology is the greatest evils in the world. Well, what are you implying, sir? What are you supposed to do with evil? What do you do with evil? You thwart it, correct? So you think that these people need to be thwarted. You want these people gone. You don't think they should be on this earth. That is fucking evil. There are some people out there with some extremely hateful rhetoric that are saying some really horrible shit. That is not you, Ian. You are in nowhere near this fear. And it really does show, like, this guy's heart, where he genuinely feels bad about hurting some of these people who we did deem as snowflakes. Because there was a thing like, sack the fuck up, man. Something wasn't done. You were not going out of your way to actually harm these people. There are people right now on fucking YouTube with their live streams just fucking grifting out the ass that are actually fucking getting people hurt, that are actually ruffling people's feathers enough to go and protest fucking these events, just to go fucking bring guns and shit and ignore real problems. Talk about protecting children, and then they won't touch the things that are harming children the most statistically: religious institutions, gun violence. They do nothing about that. Yet they want to claim that they care about kids and all this shit. No, they're hateful bigots. These are real fucking villains that transcends the fucking internet. idubbbz, Ian, the person, is nowhere near this conversation. And the way that he is behaving in this video, it's like, bro, you're acting as if you fucking did something that has led to people being fucking hurt and maimed and killed. I'm not talking about just, oh, my soul hurts or something. Ow, man. I'm talking about, like, I'm in danger, because there's people that are in danger now because of some hateful rhetoric that's being spewed, because it's working. The propaganda is working. And then there's Ian putting on some charity events, making some little documentaries, whatever. Made some stupid, edgy videos that were pretty funny and entertaining, but really not much past that, other than the people who, like, said they feel like it's earth-shattering. They feel like it is, but it just really isn't on the grand scale of things. It is just the fucking internet. It's internet commentary. It really is just that, man. And it's sad, man. It's sad to see that he feels this deeply about it, where I'm like, bro, this online shit, this living online terminally shit is so fucking unhealthy. You can only live online terminally and feel this bad for doing not that bad of shit. Because I wish there were these monsters. You know, there's some people who are renounced racists, people that were in the Klan, that wore the hoods and all this shit, that feel fucking awful for the stuff that they've done, things that they probably participated in that they would never unearth because they'd probably go to prison. They've probably done some really heinous shit, and they're like, I have to dedicate my life into fixing this because I have legitimately hurt people, destroyed families, inspired real hatred. And then there's idubbbz. You inspired some annoying little internet fucking basement dwelling sweaty assholes. It's not the same, dude. Like, you gotta pat yourself on the back a little bit. Like, if I knew Ian felt this way when I was at Creator Clash 2, I would have taken him aside and I would have had a conversation with him and be like, bro, I understand how that you feel this way, but I gotta tell you, man, it's not that bad. Like, you gotta give yourself some more credit. You're fine.
I want to talk about events and situations that have happened over the past 5 years of my life that have led me to the place I'm at now.
Let's go.
One year I was at a convention and a bunch of fans were, wanting pictures, and this particular fan came up to me and said, I know you probably don't like transgender people, but can I, get a picture? That smacked me in the face. I was like, oh, holy shit. Why would you think that?
Well,
I mean, it was fairly obvious. I was being cruel, hateful, bigoted, and being very uncaring about people's feelings. That is a very fair assessment to make. I was giving this...
I completely disagree. I don't think you can jump to that conclusion. I don't believe that, because I was waiting like, wait, what did he do? I was trying to think, oh, who's he? Because, like, okay, I understand if you're hanging out with certain people, right? It's kind of like, say, Joe Rogan hanging out with a lot of right-wing guys that obviously hate transgender people and gays and all this stuff. They're hyper-religious people. But, like, he'll hang out with them. So, naturally, I understand why some people would think that. Like, oh, well, Joe probably is not down with that shit, too, because he's totally fine with hanging out with those people who share that ideology. I understand how people can jump to that conclusion. But I'm trying to think, like, as far as I'm remembering, this is just from my point of view, idubbbz would be hanging out with Anything for Views, Max Mofo, Filthy Frank, what is it, the guy with the eggs, How to Basic, I think. I would see him hanging out with a lot of those guys. It's not like I don't pay hyper close attention to these people, but I don't remember them like putting out a bunch of hateful and racist content or anti-trans content. I'd go as far as to understand why somebody may think that about me because of how binary some people are when they're thinking about their minds, like about this. You did this, therefore it was kind of like how people said I'm a conservative. You making content against progressives, therefore you must be conservative. I'm like, I didn't know that's how things worked. I didn't know the world was just binary. It's all black and white. I thought there was lots of nuances or shades of gray, as people say, right? Like, oh, I made a video about a trans person's ideology defending political violence because they were saying hateful rhetoric is violence, therefore you can beat them up. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. I think that's very dangerous. I don't care that they're trans. This just happens to be a larger YouTuber in that space, and I wanted to make a video countering their points, because I still believe the same shit. I don't think you can just beat people up because they're saying hateful things. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. I think that's dangerous. I think that's just crazy. That's just a recipe for disaster. But I digress. I'm just saying that, like, somebody could just be very obtuse in their thoughts and be like, well, this guy made a video against against a trans person. They made a response, and so they're probably transphobe or something. And I'm like, that's unfortunate that you think that, but like, I promise you, I don't give a flying fuck. I think. I am so indifferent, like, that you exist, that you're a person, you are a fucking person, and that's it. I don't have some strong feelings, and that's exactly how the world should feel, that you are just a human being. You have made some choices in your life, and why the fuck would I care? Like, if you're my friend, if I know you, I'm care about your well-being, of course, but if you're a stranger and you're living your life, you're just a stranger to me. So you go live your life and transition as many fucking times as you want. You're not hurting anybody. Go do your thing, man. But like, there's people that get all fucking weird about it. Obviously, a lot of religious fucking zealots that get all butthurt about this shit because they're Skydad fake zombie motherfuckers just telling them what they think and all this shit. But me, it's like, damn, I just, man, of course you all deserve rights. You're fucking humans. You don't deserve any hatred at all. So it is a little bizarre that, like, somebody would come to this conclusion. Maybe there was some anti-trans people watching him or some shit, but like, maybe she came across that in a comment section. I don't know. Or I already said she. I literally have no idea this person's gender. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like that's fucked up that happened. But I also feel like that's a little unfair.
Person, bad vibes. And I think I've given a lot of people extremely bad vibes. Another event that was very important for me to experience was I went on a boxing podcast. I was basically like trying to walk back my Tana content cop. I was still very like insecure and uncomfortable with the fact that I made that video, and but I was still coping. You'll see me struggle in this clip to, say that it was wrong.
So I just wanted to
this is interesting.
let you talk on.
I didn't even know this is a thing. This is interesting.
That, right? Because obviously using the N-word is definitely frowned upon by a lot of people, especially by a non-African American, but I was just curious.
That was a very weird video because I wanted to like criticize her for her like sort of flagrant use of it. I've been pretty flagrant about it too, not in the same way. Mm-hmm. I thought there was a message to be shared there. And
what's going on here?
I don't think it was particularly
it was okay in criticizing her, but I think I probably wasn't the person to deliver the message, if that makes sense. There was,
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with him saying that.
a message that I was trying to put out there, and like, I'm not really the person to put out that message. I don't regret making the video. I think, you know, there's bits and pieces to take from it that I think are valuable, but.
So pretty much a year later, he regrets it. So it shows that like there was more of a metamorphosis, a come to Jesus, a secular come to Jesus.
You know, I probably wouldn't make it these days.
Sure, that's fine. I mean, who the fuck would make that video these days? It wouldn't survive. It wouldn't survive. You'd have to go to like Rumble or whatever the side channels are.
Grateful to those guys and how they broached the subject, because, you know, it didn't put me on the defensive. It just made me realize, like, I'm stupid, and I really need to like acknowledge these things. Like what am I doing? I'm still trying to make excuses for myself and, like, you know, why I made that video.
No, I mean,
like, it was a dumb idea. I harassed someone. I was saying slurs, and I was trying to justify it all. A very big thing that has sort of altered my view on all of this is just the amount of hate and harassment my wife Anissa has received over the years. She's had to deal with it from the beginning of our relationship.
I mean, it's been probably pretty rough for her, yeah.
And I have done a horrible job at acknowledging her and her feelings for it. A lot of the time, I just thought that was her problem, or that was, you know, other people's problem. Like,
you know why you I imagine why he probably thought this, because it's like, yeah, man, your wife's being like fucked with on the internet a lot. That's gotta be heavy, because that would drive me insane. But it's one of those things, man, that, and I don't care what fandom you're a part of, it's such a scapegoat for these people. What exactly could idubbbz, Ian, what exactly could you have done if you're on a journey to change, and if you also tell people don't fuck with my wife? I mean, Streisand effect. What could you do other than, and this is real, other than Anissa, like, piecing the fuck out of the internet? Like, really. It's one of those things where it's like, she shouldn't have to do that. It's like, I understand. It's just like, right, you should be able to walk down a dark alley at 2 a.m. and not be fucking attacked. But we know why we don't do that shit. I mean, goddamn, I got some guy tried to mug me at 11 p.m. in my hometown. I offered him a fucking lighter. He wanted to use my phone. I told him it's dead, because I was like, if I hand it to him, he's gonna run. Because I was just like, I don't know, this guy seems a little shady, but whatever. And then he tried to knock me out, hit me in the chin. And it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of shitheads out there. I shouldn't have got. Obviously, that guy shouldn't have assaulted me, but I shouldn't have been so, yeah, here, let me try to help you out. Here's my lighter. Just keep it in the shit, and just be talking like, this guy's obviously trying to fucking game me. But anyway, it's one of those things where it's like, it's this situation like this, like, you're online, people are trying to connect these dots that aren't there. They don't know your personal life. They don't know you. They don't know Anissa, but they're still going to put two and two together. You can have all these other content creators that are going to profit off of just shitting on you guys, and it was just a clusterfuck. So maybe behind the scenes you didn't do a good job acknowledging this. Obviously, I wouldn't know. But online, what could you really have done? Because the people who care about you, the people who care about Anissa, they're obviously ain't fucking with you. They're not messing and harassing and sending horrible messages. It's the people who are mad that idubbbz seems to not be the same person. And if you try to tell them to back off, they're just going to get even angrier, because they're a bunch of anonymous internet fucking idiots. So, like, I don't even know how you address that situation, honestly.
It's not my problem that you're getting hate and harassment. And it's like, no, it absolutely is. You know, that's the culture that I cultivated. And I, you know, didn't do anything to change that.
What could you do?
You know, over the years, it's changed a little bit. But, you know, I don't think I've still...
I feel like it's maybe more changed because I just... Maybe people, after a while, they do get a little bit tired of that shit, and maybe a lot of those people did grow up too, like fully, not clearly fully, but just like I'm tired of being a dumb asshole on the internet. Maybe I should take a shower and, I don't know, try to get a significant other or something. Shit.
Fully acknowledged how responsible I am for the amount of harassment that Anissa has had to deal with. And this year, I decided to speak more candidly and be more open about who I am as a person and speak on my life a little bit more. And I did that on Anthony Padilla's podcast.
I caught a little bit of that.
These are the people that I'm attracting. These are the people that I'm entertaining. Like,
I did see this. I
need to reevaluate things. They're relating and enjoying this content for a reason, and that's not maybe the same reason that I'm trying to make. I had a very Wild West mentality when it came to online behavior. Like, people are going to do what they want to do. People are going to say what they want to say.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, right?
And I can pretty much do the same because it's the internet. But I think you have to be a lot more responsible. If you guys are at all interested in how I've arrived here, that video gives, a good bit of context and talks about some of my life a little bit. There is a clip from this interview that's been floating around the internet, and it's me calling my fans antisocial and basement dwellers, and I was like, I didn't like, interacting with my fans. I just want to be clear, that was my realization. I think a lot of people are like, of course that happened, is because you were creating that culture, and you were attracting those people. And it's like, yes, I know. I know now.
This is interesting.
I didn't know before. It was my realization upon, meeting more and more fans that I was like,
this is interesting.
Shit, you guys are struggling. It was easy for me to identify them struggling when they were outside of my body. But the antisocial basement dwelling incel that was inside here, I couldn't acknowledge that. I couldn't recognize that. So I needed the mirror to be held up to me.
That's interesting. I thought he was going to go in a different direction with that. I thought he was going to address those fans. Maybe he's going to now, because I feel like if you really want a lot of these people to kind of get off your back, maybe you should give them some type of send off, even though you did call them basement dwellers or whatever the fuck. And you did be like, well, I was one of them. We've all came to that conclusion ourselves. One of the reasons why they're mad because they saw themselves in him. I tweeted about that too. But it sounded like just that little segment right there. He's speaking to maybe people, because there's probably people that made a lot of videos. I actually haven't seen them, but there's probably a lot of videos. There's probably a lot of progressive content creators that made a lot of videos about idubbbz and trashing him. And maybe he finally watched them and he agrees with them, and then he's speaking to them in that very moment. Because I watch content from because how could you know you're where you should be or have even a decent perspective on things if you don't watch content all over the political spectrum? I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of content on the right that I just can't tolerate anymore, because just facts are completely, it's all feelings, it's all just religious dogma and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is getting, because I always try to seek stuff out that seems interesting, and I'm like, maybe these motherfuckers have a point. I remember all them years ago when Zeitgeist came out, right? Zeitgeist, I'm like, oh, that was interesting. That was an interesting documentary. That was pretty cool. That was what, 07? And then I remember some video called Zeitgeist Refuted came out, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I can't wait to see this. I want to hear some counterpoints and all this shit. And it was just like, the Bible's true because it says it's true in the Bible. And I was like, fuck, man. I was so disappointed. I'm like, fuck, can I get I wanted some fucking substance, even something that's just somewhat plausible that I can hang on to and have a discussion with my friends and shit, but it's like, yeah, you got to keep your mind open to other stuff, and then you can really kind of come to logical conclusions from there. And I feel like this is where this dude has landed, but he also just feels, I don't know, man, I almost feel like there was a drug awakening. There was a ayahuasca shroom trip, something that really just and he had a major ego death or something, because he seems so much hurt than I feel like anyone ever should feel. I truly believe that.
In closing, I want to say that I have always thought that I was an empathetic person, because I thought, well, I get angry, I get sad, of course I got empathy. Seems easy, right? Empathy. I definitely have that. There were moments where a dog would die in a film and I'd cry. So it's like, of course I have empathy.
You do.
But I never did.
But
I
yes,
think only
yes, you
these
did.
past couple of years have I gained the ability, empathy.
No, I think you have no, because empathy and apathy, like those emotions, those states of minds, there is absolutely a spectrum of that, and you don't have to feel the pain of everything. You don't. Like mine's a little bit stretched larger than I feel like it should. Some people have asked me like, "Hey, were you like did you have any trauma when you were a child that makes you so like protective of kids?" Like whenever you hear about abuse cases of children or anything, like I get super fucking emotional. I get so angry. I get so mad, and I'm just like, no, because I just know what a child is, man, an empty vessel, and they trust in you, and they have the whole world in front of you, and then there's these pieces of fucking garbage that just ruin these people's life, any chance of them to fucking live, to just like a normal fucking life. To a lot of these people, then they just wake up every morning wishing to not exist because of the trauma that they experience. It's the worst thing you could fucking do. And I just recognize it. Right? It's just the part of the, it's just the empath in me that recognizes that. And that's why I get so fucking angry when you have certain people pretend to care about kids, yet will not address the things that are harming kids the most. They refuse to address it, and then they make up other bullshit and be like, these people are harming kids, even though statistically there's no fucking evidence, or there's one case versus hundreds of thousands of these motherfuckers harming kids, and we're not going to say a fucking word of it on our program. We're going to pass no laws. We're going to do no marches. We're going to do nothing. And I get so fucking angry. It's because I have empathy. I was raised completely fine as a kid, but it's just the empathy in me, right? But there's certain things, like even having the podcast that I do, where every once in a while there would be a message or a comment about, oh, I didn't like what you said about this, and it's like, fuck off. I don't care. I literally don't care. We're doing a comedy show. My intentions are never to harm somebody. Like, you just should not listen to this. That's as far as it's going to go with me. I'm not going to be like, whoa, I need to change my content and everything about who I am because of this. I'm like, I just don't need to go this far. But I don't know if there's other examples of idubbbz, like just maybe even worse things that he just doesn't want to share. Because everything he just talked about, I just feel like it just doesn't warrant the level of hurt and the level of like how ashamed he feels. Like even a year ago where he said he didn't regret making that Tana Mojo video. And it's like, well, what changed in you that makes you regret it now? What did you hear? Did you have a drug awakening? I wonder.
And I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy. But
it's just not true though.
And I've realized it because I just like can't help myself but like feel for other people's pain and suffering now.
Pain and suffering.
I'm still not perfect. I think that is my empathy meter's only maybe like a quarter of the way filled up.
A quarter, bro. Your meter bursted. You're going for you're at a surplus, sir.
Essentially, but it's at least there. And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy if you experience more life. It might take you getting hurt a little bit, but
getting hurt,
it's worth it. It is so worth it. So thank you for watching, everyone.
Oof.
I do want to create more regular content, and I don't want to just have the next 5 videos be apologies. So I have uploaded a squirrel video on my second channel. If you want to watch that, I guess there's one final thing.
Forgot about that.
I just want to thank everyone who's given me the space and the compassion to grow as a person, because it's taken longer than it probably should have. I appreciate everyone, and I think most importantly, I appreciate my wife, Anissa. She has been insanely compassionate and helpful and patient in allowing me to grow over the years, and has legitimately encouraged me to be a better person.
Interesting.
Not a better person in just like the idubbbz becoming woke kind of way. She was the one who said that I should try this boxing thing. I would have never done that on my own because I was insecure and I was
interesting.
pathetic. I did this, and I am so glad I did.
That's interesting.
It's been amazing. So, Anissa, I love you. You're amazing. Right now you're streaming, but bon voyage, toodles.
Interesting. That's interesting. Well, this video has gotten pretty long, but that was interesting. Look, so we learned some things in this video. Not a lot of things, but we learned that I think that idubbbz has maxed out his empathy, or it's still it's like it's so far beyond. I feel like it is what is in a normal range, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, like I said, and I want to make it very clear. I don't harbor still, even after watching that video, don't harbor any negative emotions or feelings towards Ian, the person. When I asked the question, what did they do? Well, he didn't do anything. He just feels a certain way, and that's fine. I mean, everybody wants to talk about free speech and all this shit and live and let live and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, this is the way he feels. I don't agree with the way that he feels, but that's fine. It has nothing to do with me. Like, even if, like, we were able to have another conversation, sit down and have some fucking lunch or have a drink or whatever, I wouldn't even talk about that shit. It's so fucking unimportant. I would just, like, let's talk about some cool shit, whatever the fuck's going on. Now I do wonder, I do wonder, to be honest, like, say, idubbbz is somebody who I'd like to have on the Snark Tank podcast. And I feel like with the connections and, Chris being on Creator Clash, there's something that could happen. But I do worry, and this is the only thing that I worry about, is because I still have a, immature sense of humor. And some things we do say on there, I wonder if he maybe wouldn't be comfortable with that. It would be something that, like, say, we would have to talk about it beforehand. And I got to be honest, it's something that I would be okay with, right? I would be okay with the nerf because there's somebody like Keith David who we say that's Mecca. If we ever get Keith David on as a guest, then the podcast is over. We're not doing anymore. That it's never going to get any better than that. If Keith David didn't want to hear jokes about autism or something, clearly I'm not going to go there. You understand what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like, you cucked yourself. It's just like, whatever, man. It's just being fucking respectable. So this is his journey. He feels like he's in a good spot. The spot that he's in hurts absolutely no one, so you really shouldn't be mad about it. All I can do is just be a little bit, like, confused and like, I don't know, man. I feel like you're doing too much. I feel like maybe once the dust settles, maybe he'll let up a little bit. If you wanted to talk to me specifically about all this stuff, and I don't see why he would, but I would give him the advice that, like, hey, man, I truly, honestly believe that you've been a good person the entire time. You did not have ill will, as far as I'm concerned. You didn't have malice in your heart. You weren't actually trying to hurt these people, were you? No, you were just making dumb fucking videos. And then some people did, there was the fallout. Some other people got bugged and everything. But at the end of the day, Rice Gum, Tana Mojo, who the fuck else? Keemstar, Leafy, they're all doing fine. I know you made other video content cops, but, like, they're doing all right. Leafy's fucking made bank. Tana's, I'm sure, still making money off of whatever the hell she's doing. Keemstar's getting into the boxing promotion himself. Fucking, what's his name? I'm funny, I want to call him Brian, but I forgot his name. I just said his name. It doesn't matter. But, like, all those people are making, like, a lot of money. They're doing fine. I don't think you shattered their world. I don't think it's to a point where it's like, I could never exist. Anytime I see Tana Mojo in any, like, context, which is rare, I don't even think about that idubbbz content cop anymore. I really don't. I'll be honest. I don't. I don't associate it that much. Whatever. I associate the content cops more with Leafy and the No Chin thing. Because there's something about no chin people that I just always find fun to me. I don't know. Yeah, sure, it's a little mean, but it's still funny, man. But it is what it is. You know, like I said, unlike all the other people who made videos, I could have a pint with idubbbz, no problem. It's all good, man. It's all good. Interesting video. What a wild ride. To the people that are watching this, I can't even imagine what you have to say in the comments section. Holy fuck. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I understand that there's going to be a lot of negativity. I do get it. I don't really think there should be. I think like the type of criticism that I was putting forth in this video is totally warranted. But as far as like just being like, oh, fuck this guy and all this shit, like I just don't. Guys, like, as soon as I'm done editing this video, I'm going to go get my wife. We're going to go eat some food. We're going to live outside in the real world, if you understand what I'm trying to get at. This internet shit isn't that serious to me. You know, jumping on the bandwagons of hatred to Boogie tonight and all these people, even though Boogie's had a very nice arc right now with the boxing thing. Congratulations to him and Wings of Redemption and everything. Like, just turning lolcows into, like, respectable people. Like, I respected them outside of the internet. They're fucking people, man. What the fuck did they do to have them be like the worst scum of the earth and to make like 20 videos about them saying how they're so bad and how they deserve a downfall or some shit? So fucking stupid. I don't know. That's the stuff that pisses me off. Like these fucking idiots that just live online. I'm like, bro, you guys got to get a life outside the internet. You got to realize the levels. Realize that there's evil motherfuckers out there doing awful things. A lot of them are actually locked up right now. They might even get out too and do some more evil shit. And that's a problem. Not somebody becoming woke. Oh, he's woke now. It's such a big deal. Whatever, man. This is probably the longest video I've ever made. Obviously, I've streamed way longer than this. But as far as a video goes, this is great. Algorithm gods, maybe they'll bless me. If they don't, I don't give a shit. Take care, guys.